It's tomato time!
Hey, Tomato Tuesday!
That juicy tomato.
Hi, Planty People, Lorinda here. It's Tomato Tuesday, where I share a tomato growing tip so you can have a successful tomato season. Today's tip is all about tomato support.
Come on, tomato, you got this. Grow, grow, grow. You can do it.
Not that kind of support. This kind of support. Now I know it's really hard to believe that these cute little baby tomato plants that you've been nurturing are gonna grow into something massive. Kind of like my kids. Before you know it, in a blink of an eye, they're taller than you and constantly asking for food. But that's a whole other tomato tip that I'll be sharing with you on another episode. It's best to get the tomato supports up while the tomato is still small, so it can grow into it and really support it well. I'm going to show you a few different supports that you can use for your tomato plant and some items that maybe you think are going to be great but turn out not to be. So everybody is familiar with these type of tomato cages, just the little wire galvanized cages. And although these may be fine for like cherry tomatoes, for your beefsteak tomatoes and brandy wines, it's just not enough support. Yeah, it looks humongous on your little tiny tomato plant, but eventually the tomato plant will grow up through it and actually lift it up out of the ground and fall on its side due to the weight. And believe me, I know because it's happened to me. I once planted 4 tomato plants in 1 square foot with a little cage stuck on each, and it was a disaster. My cages fell over. I had no idea how big these tomato plants can get. But that's how you learn, trial and error. And now I know to come up with a better supporting system if I want to keep my plant healthy and upright. So I'm gonna show you what I have going. Now, if you're gonna use a tomato cage, I would go with a really good sturdy one like this one. This one is a really thick wire. It's actually a coated wire. It's probably a 1/4 inch thick. And it's pretty tall. And as you can see, this tomato plant in it is actually a 2-year-old tomato plant, and it's just massive. It actually comes all the way up to the top of the cage and then goes all the way to that cage. And then as you can see, it also has vined all the way up to the top of the trellis over there. This plant is massive, and as you can see, that little tiny gray galvanized tomato support would really do nothing for this big old plant. Now, this tomato cage itself was probably about $10, which is kind of a lot for a single tomato cage if you're gonna have a lot of tomatoes. But this isn't your only option. Now here I've created teepees using these bamboo posts. Pretty cool. I got these bamboo posts at Home Depot. You get 6 of them to a pack for $3. So, that's probably about 50 cents a post. So really, you're only spending like $2 on these supports. And the twine, you can get a giant roll of twine really cheap. And this is fine. And as they get taller, I could just tie the branches with some tomato tape or little clips. Now, these tomato clips I absolutely love, and I just picked these up at my local dollar store, but they are so convenient and so easy, and I get like 20 clips for $1. You can't beat it. And what I do with these is, as my tomato plant, grows and vines out, I just take one of the little clips that are just spring-loaded like this, and I just clip it to whatever support I need it to, and it's so easy peasy. I also use wooden trellises like this. And as the plant gets taller, I just use those plant clips and clip it to the string on the trellis. I bought these at my local garden center a couple years ago on clearance. If you want to go more decorative, you can use really nice iron trellises. I found this one at my local Aldi grocery store last year for only like $10. And this Gothic style trellis that I picked up at Hobby Lobby last year will provide really good strong support as the tomato grows up through it. And it looks nice. I also have this really big garden arch here in my garden, and one year I had cherry tomato plants vining up one end and a beefsteak tomato growing in the other. You really can get creative and use anything as a trellis to trellis your tomatoes. As long as they have proper sturdy support and is pretty tall, they'll do just fine. Well, I hope I gave you some great ideas on how you can support your tomatoes. Get creative. You really can use anything as long as it's strong enough and tall enough to support these big old plants. Now make sure you get these supports in while the plants are still small so they can grow up through it. You don't want to wait till your plant is super big and then try to MacGyver a support over it when the plant is already massive. It's best to do it while they're young. So thank you for watching this Tomato Tuesday tip, and we'll see you next Tomato Tuesday. Now get out and grow something. It's a beautiful day. Bye.